I believe in deferring everything to the officials who get paid in doing this, who do a very good job. For me, I'm just a guy that's spectating like everyone else, but I do observe the rules and I do respect them for what they are. But Marcus, we actually have somebody, okay, that is going to be on our show tonight, okay, who's going to grace us with his presence, and he is a long-time NFL official for a number of years. Been doing a great job. He is actually part of the Kentucky Pro Football Hall of Fame. A good friend of mine who I asked, man, could you come on here and talk about and speak about these things, if you will? And maybe you could give me a little bit more introduction on some of the things, but he's been on here before to give us a lot of his professional opinions about things, more as opinions, but also too definitive answers of what you need as far as wanting to ask officials. So, go ahead. I'll let you pick it up a little bit.
Yeah, so like JD said, it's we want to provide you guys clarity, just to be able to speak to a former NFL official. I think it's very rare. I mean, I don't see many podcasts who have people with this kind of background or resume on. Jim Daopoulos has been on our show before. He's got about 20 plus years experience as an NFL, either as an NFL supervisor, NFL official supervisor, or just a regular NFL official. So, he's got a lot of experience. So you guys ask questions away in the chat. We'll try to get to everything. Just to talk about this whole the conspiracy theory BS that's going around. And I think Dean Blandino, the main Fox head official, for the Fox content, he said he believes that the refs got it wrong on the 4th down spot for Josh Allen, but he also did say in the same breath, he says the NFL is not conspiring with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But we'll be able to talk to Jim tonight, and then after that, we're going to kind of take a dive in to the Philadelphia Eagles defense. So beauty about having 2 weeks to prepare and do previews for the Super Bowl. We can break it up a little bit, guys. So tonight we're going to talk about the defense attacking the Philadelphia Eagles defense, and then next week we'll get into more how can Spags pick up some specialties next week. But today we're going to talk about officiating and all the stuff that's going on right now, as well as previewing our attack on the Eagles defense tonight. So packed show, guys. So we hope you guys enjoy it. JD, any final words before we bring on our guest of the hour?
No, man. Other than that, I just want to give you all, give everybody, Chiefs Concerns, a warm welcome to my guy, the NFL official, one of the best that ever done it before. Jim Daopoulos is here with us.
Well, welcome, guys. Great to be here.
Jim, man, good to see you. Good to see you, man. I spoke with you a little bit earlier, and you were talking about you were, down playing golf today, and I'm up in this cold weather in Kentucky, and
it's
a little
nice
jealous.
And warm down here in South Florida, as you can tell.
Oh. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk so much about these conspiracy theories, and it's kind of funny. The same thing occurred when I was up in the league office when the Patriots were winning. People want to hate the winners. And, I can tell you without reservation, there is nothing going on in the league office with the officials, with the staff up there with regards to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're just a damn good football team that knows how to win, knows how to take advantage of breaks on the field, and they're just really good, and they're tough to beat. We had the same situation with Tom Brady. Everybody thought Brady was getting, special, preferential treatment. It doesn't happen, guys. It never happens. I've sat in many, many meetings, both as an official and as a supervisor up there. And I can tell you, nothing goes on in those back rooms that says, hey, you know what? We've got to do this or we've got to do that. The game is going to be played on an level field. Hey, do the officials make mistakes? Absolutely, they make mistakes. Coaches make mistakes. Players make mistakes. Officials make mistakes. And it's unfortunate that they happen, but that's just the nature of the game. But to say, they're giving, they're protecting Mahomes or they're protecting the Kansas City Chiefs. I can tell you, they protect every quarterback out there because the quarterback is the franchise, and the owners spend a lot of money, keeping these guys healthy and keeping them ready to play. And you don't want them to get hurt on a busted play. So, you put a little bit more responsibility on the referee to keep his eyes on the quarterback, and maybe on occasion they protect them a little bit more than they should. But when you're paying somebody 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars a year, you don't want them to be put out on an illegal hit.
Yeah. And Jim, what was it? Was it last year? Might have been. It was last year, I think. They were saying on the sideline, okay, there was like $120 million sitting on the sideline last year from being hurt, from quarterbacks and high paid players. And not saying that they weren't being protected, but we're just talking about like the magnitude of what happens when you do have players that's making a whole lot of money that do get hurt that's on the sidelines. And look, I'm playing the game, obviously, getting hit from all different angles as a tight end. Sometimes I want a little bit of preferential treatment too, as far as like they would treat me. But, I didn't get that. I understand that part of it, quarterbacks,
Right.
having a little bit more leeway and whatnot as far as protection. And to me, that's fine. That's fine. But I think where the contention is like you said, that you're all human. Y'all do make mistakes. But one thing I do like about it is y'all get together with a consensus and try to get it right. Okay. I think y'all do your due diligence.
That's the bottom line is to get it right. That's why
Yes.
they put replay in there. Correct the correctable errors. What they've done is they've expanded it in my opinion, they've expanded it too much. They're almost trying to officiate from the press box. But again, the game is so fast, and you've got 7 guys out there, and a lot of stuff goes on, as you know, and there's a lot of grabbing, and the good officials, the guys that are really the top of the game, are the ones that know what to let go and what to call, because the rule book is so open that there's so many variations to the rule book. There's so many situations that we used to write them in the margins of the rule book. So you've got to use your head out there. You've got to be flexible enough to make some adjustments out there, and you can't go right down the middle. Sometimes you got to let some things go, because people don't want to go out there and just watch officials throw flags.
Right.
The best
right.
game is if you never have a flag, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and I think when you are doing talking about getting everything right, you take the time to go ahead and do it, and like you said, if there is something that might be a little bit ambiguity and whatnot, I think y'all talk it out. I do like having the perspective of on the official, like, hey, what did you think about that up in the box after the play is over? And what he'll do is he'll either confer, right, or validate what is being said, or he'll say in the contention, like, hey, maybe this could have been something a little bit different, but they didn't quite see it that way. And it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not like all guys got together, NFL's officials say, hey, we're going to do it and rig it for this team, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like Josh Allen's the 4th down rush.
Yeah.
Did he make the first down? Or, we can get 50 guys to look at it, and you're going to get 50 different opinions of it. And it's so difficult. You have a head linesman and a line judge that's their responsibility, is to get that forward progress. Well, heck, I'm telling you, when that guy goes into the line and all 22 guys are just converging on it, how the heck do you know really exactly where the ball goes? I heard Gene Steratore, who's the rules analyst on CBS, said, well, I think he made it by about a third of a football. How the hell do you really, you're just saying things out there. It's just, hey, whether they were right or whether they were wrong, hopefully, you make a call as an official, and you hope it doesn't affect the outcome of the game. But there's more than 1 or 2 plays that affect the outcome of the game. Sometimes they look bigger than others, but they do a hell of a job out there. I think they spend too much time worrying about replay, thinking replay will fix something like that. Who knows if replay had the proper angle on that? You've got to just let the game go on and let it be played. It's played by, individuals who, as I said earlier, make mistakes. And we're going to just do the best we can as officials to get it right. Do we miss them? Absolutely, we miss them. And hey, if you miss them too often, you're not going to be around too long.
Well, I think that right there is kind of really the point. One official, I can't think of who it was. I think he was talking to not Trey, but one of the sports guys, and he was sitting there saying, "Look, we want to be employed. We want to work playoff games. We don't want to get fired. This is our job. So if we don't get it right, we won't work the big games. And so for us, we want to make sure we get everything right, so we are able to get more money or whatever it is to work." So this becomes like a somewhat of a stain upon your job, your employee, your question of your decision making, which we
and your
lost
integrity. They're questioning your
integrity,
integrity,
yes.
which is kind of tough because they kind of look over your background pretty close throughout your career. You don't just get in; they're watching you throughout your career. And it's a lot about the integrity. One of the problems that we had, I don't know if you all remember way back when they used replacement officials. And
Yep.
you know what? The guys in the field are pretty good. Those replacement guys, you could tell the difference. The problem is you need to get experienced officials that do the job. And they've got a pretty good staff up there doing the work right now.
Okay. So let me, as far as, and like you said, the one official was talking about, I forgot who you said, a third of the football or maybe a little point of it, like that just keeps drumming it up, right? Yeah. And I think part of the crazy part of it is when it's compounded, right? 1 week, it's like, oh, Patrick Mahomes might have got hit in the face mask up top. Is this really, roughing the passer? And then the other one was the two guys hitting when he played the Texans against Houston. It was like, well, what? Is he a runner? Or is he, was he actually trying to slide? Was he giving himself up? And so they were saying like that might have been like a little ambiguity. So let me ask you about that call in itself, because to me, I think it's like that was the precursor to maybe this happening with Josh Allen and saying, oh, here we go again, right? And they almost like Chiefs fans, like this one young lady who now is like, oh my gosh, I can't see it because now I do believe that the Chiefs are being rigged, right? That play, do you see that play? Did you get to see that one?
I saw that play, and
okay.
I saw what the official saw. He saw two guys going after him when he was down. Did they make contact with his helmet, his neck area? We slow it down and go it frame by frame and look at it. Maybe they didn't get it. But again, as we mentioned earlier, you're protecting that guy. You know what? And what if they did get the helmet and he didn't call it, and they didn't call it? Then you got another issue. And again, do you want this game being called by individuals sitting up in the press box watching it on TV? There's gotta be mistakes made. You've got to just kind of go forward with it. You've got to do the best you can with the best officials you've got. And I think that's what they're trying to do right now. Now they're trying to correct some of the errors out there. They try to help them out a little bit, but that's what these guys get paid to do, is they get paid to make these calls.
Yeah. And really my question is, because I think it's what we're talking about preferential treatment is, if something happened like any other quarterback, I'm sure y'all would still kind of make that call. I want to say, oh, it's Patrick Mahomes. Oh, well, now that's, I don't know.
Hey, anybody that is a starting quarterback in the National Football League is a great quarterback. Some of them just have a little bit more time to throw the ball. Some of them have a little bit more athletic ability. But gosh, they can all play football, and they all need to be protected out there because they're all very, very vulnerable when they're standing back there in the pocket. And I know it's tough for defensive guys. I know. I mean, gosh, I've been watching it for 25 years, and they're making it more and more difficult for the defensive players. They are making it difficult for them because, again, there's such a emphasis on safety, player safety, not just quarterback safety, but player safety. I mean, we look what happened to, Art Still. We all know Art. I mean,
Yeah,
I went to school with Art. Great guy. Still, we see him all the time at our meetings and all that. Looks like he could still play, but
yeah.
his career got really blasted when he got hit. When he got chopped on the side of the leg, and which was legal at that time. So
Hmm.
they are trying to protect the players, but again, it's football, and that's the name of the game. It's a vicious game, and it's a violent game. And I know a lot of people are saying, you got to, put flags on the quarterback. But I mean, they still get hit pretty good out there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's kind of funny because I tell you what, man, I had a call thrown on me. I remember this holding call, and it was one of my best blocks that I ever made. Okay, threw the
It wasn't
flag.
me. I didn't call it on you, did I,
I
Jason?
don't think it was you, Jim, that did it. Not quite sure who it was, but I was blocking the guy, and I could see the flag come right over my head.
Yeah.
And I thought the position he was in, he couldn't see because the guy's back was to him. And so I remember I kind of shed the guy to the side. I was like, man, how did you call that? Like, he's like, man, you holding him. I said he was fighting for his life to get away from me. It was just a great block.
Yeah.
But then I realized, I'm like, you know what? It wasn't a holding call, but that was one call that they got me for that I probably got away with 100 more that I did
Yeah.
hold a man, that they didn't
It's
call.
a guessing game. When you throw your flag, you're about 80% sure, and then as you look at it, you go back into the locker room after the game, and you pull out your little tape of the game, and you go right to the call, and you're going, "Oh God, I missed that one, or I got that one." They are very conscious of the calls that they make, and when they miss a call, it bothers them. I mean, it bothered me. It bothers them now. They're very much in tune with making the correct call and being right, and not so much. It's just that's the profession. That it's just like a ball player. You don't want to miss blocks. You don't want to miss
Right.
situations out there. So you're doing a job, and you're out there in front of a lot of people. You don't want to throw the flag when it's not a flag, or you don't want to miss a call when you do it. But those things happen. They
Yeah.
make those mistakes.
Well, I think a lot of it goes into also too, Jim, is the amount of money that's on the game right now today.
Yeah.
And so when people are putting that type of dough on the outcome of a game and they feel like, oh man, I'm being gypped, and Vegas is getting involved and they're paying Jim or whoever else is out there, and I see it, Jim's driving a nice car now, right? He's in South Florida playing golf.
They are pretty well compensated right now. They're really really well taken care of, and but it's like the NFL. It's all about fantasy football and gambling right now. I mean, that's so many people that's the concern about gambling. It's not if you win or lose, but do you cover the spread, or do you my fantasy guy's making the point. So there's so many more people involved in it for so many different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a great game that and it's got a great following of people, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Well, one of the, like you were saying, more people be involved in this is kind of one aspect I wanted to kind of take the conversation is one of the crazy conspiracies that surrounded the Chiefs right now, okay, and why they should be winning games and the officials are helping them is because Taylor Swift is part of the Chiefs' kingdom now, and the Swifties are here, and so they've all gotten together and colluded that everything's going to happen, and the Chiefs got to win this one for the three-peat because Taylor Swift is involved with this whole thing now. It's so crazy to me just hearing some of this stuff. What do you think about some of that?
I think it has zero influence on the officials officiating the game. That Taylor Swift is there. Probably some of them don't even know who she is, knowing some of those guys. But she just brings a whole new element to the game. She brings a whole new group of individuals to the game, and I mean that's what the NFL's looking for. They don't want this to be just an old guys league watching football and all that. They like to bring more people involved in it, and she's doing that. She's getting more people excited about it. Females, younger people watching what's going on, and I don't think it has any influence at all on the play in the game or the
Right.
officials in the game. They've got their job to do. I tell people, excuse me. I tell people you're officiating the game. Sometimes you don't even know who's winning because you're so focused on your responsibility. Each official has a specific responsibility on every snap. And he's focused on that player. If the play is a sweep to the right, somebody's watching the guys on the left. So there's always somebody watching something. So you can't be daydreaming out there and looking up into the stands and saying, I wonder if she's watching me work out here. Or wonder if she sees me down here in the field. Because it doesn't happen. You're so focused on what's going on the field, you really don't know what's going on out the sidelines.
Right.
Jim, I had a question. So,
Sure.
was it last year they tried to do the chip in the footballs? Because that's something that everyone's saying now, where it's like, oh, well, if there was a chip in the football, they would have been able to spot the ball better. Just like how in tennis, for example, the tennis balls have like a certain chip inside of it, so that's why they know if it lands out or not. I know there was some kind of I read that there was something with the weather that the chips weren't completely accurate because the weather was kind of throwing it off a little bit last year when they tried it. Do you think that's ever going to be a thing where the footballs will have chips in it?
Marcus, my understanding is they've used the chip on the football. But it still comes down to the positioning because can they get the chip when the guy goes between 10 guys in there? I don't know how accurate that is. It's just like the accuracy of getting forward progress. To be honest with you guys, it's a guess. It's a guess by the guys on the sideline, and they're doing the best they can to try. They're watching the action in the backfield. They've got to watch their blockers. Then they've got to kind of pick up the runner with the ball, and then they got to see, has he been touched before he touches the ground? There's so many variables that go into that. This game would be really easy. If you put chips in the ball and all of a sudden, something would come down there and say, put it on the 25.5-yard line. And it'll tell you that. But I just don't know if the technology is there yet. I know they've tried it. I know they tried in soccer. They tried in a lot of different games. But, it's kind of interesting. We kind of lose the excitement of the football game. Like, we've played for so many years. What's going on? And, we try to do so much with, video technology and all the microphones and the helmets and the officials have all got earphones in their ears and they're listening to people up in New York telling them stuff. How do you focus on what your job is when you've got so many distractions? It makes it very difficult. And, I know they're trying to get everything right. They're trying to be 100% perfect, but that's not the kind of game it is. It's not a perfect game. The ball doesn't even roll through. You roll the ball, it'll go over here and left and right. So, it's a different game, but I think it's just a game that we love and we like watching it. And, we just hope that, we don't lose control of it because of, a bad call or a bad play or something or someone getting injured.
Want to make some quick cash during the rest of the NFL playoffs? There's still time to embrace your inner underdog. Over the last 4 weeks, we have given 15 selections and have cashed on 13 of them, predicting higher or lower on multiple different player statistics. So we are ready to continue this heater into the conference championship and beyond. So if you've yet to download the Underdog app, do so now and get free cash. Click the link in the description or use promo code CHIEFCONCERNS, that's one word, to claim your free pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. It's conference championship weekend, so let's continue to keep the good vibes in 2025.
Here's a question right here. Said, is there a reason the refs aren't full-time NFL employees?
Yeah. Benefits. The NFL doesn't want to pay benefits.
Yeah.
That's, when I was on the field, I was on the negotiating committee. I was on the board of directors, and we were in the process of negotiating a new settlement that around 2000. And then I went up into the league office and we locked the officials out. I remember I worked a Monday night game. It was in Denver, the Giants and the Broncos, the first Monday night game in the stadium out in Denver, myself and 6 high school guys. on Monday Night Football, and and basically they were holding out for more money. They were holding out for benefits, but it's really has shown that the caliber of officials that are on the field are far superior than the ones that they could put on. You can't just go out on the street and find 7 guys to officiate a game. You've got to have an idea of what's going on there. You've got to have an experience, and they got a nice new contract there. In 2007, they locked them out again and had another one, and then they had that fiasco up in Seattle where I think it was Green Bay and Seattle on a touchdown pass. The replay official, one guy single touchdown, the other guy, and it all hell broke loose. And they have a great contract. They have. It's like they've hit the lottery when they work there. However, the league doesn't want to pay, extended benefits for these guys. So they're pretty well compensated right now. Very well compensated.
Okay. One of our fans is over here asking, said, give the refs a mic to call out the sportscasters. I think a lot of some of the vitriol y'all been hearing is some of these, like Adam Scheffler and those guys are sitting there saying, well, the officials, they need to revisit this during the offseason and whatnot, which I'm sure you're not opposed to. But do you feel like y'all need to go on, like this place, and y'all need to defend yourselves in your positions and like, hey, man, like, listen, until you walk in our shoes and understand what this thing is, by all means, come on out here, please. We need more officials. If you feel like you do a much better job, come on out here. Put a whistle in your mouth and a uniform.
It's so easy, Jason, to criticize. Whether you're criticizing players, whether you're criticizing coaches get criticized all the time. It's easy to criticize, but it's a difficult situation. But I can tell you, the officials work 12 months a year on this. They are always studying. They're working on their game. They're understanding what's going on. The competition committee is always looking into things. They're getting suggestions from spectators. They're getting from coaches, from owners, from officials. They always get and they look into all these different things that could change the game. But I have noticed in all the years that I've ever done this, they change rules for 2 reasons: scoring and safety. That's all. They try to protect scoring, and they want to get more score. They want more scoring, and they try to protect the players. And that's what it's all about. But this isn't something that after the Super Bowl everybody goes on vacation for 6 months. It doesn't happen. These guys are working just like the players. That when they finish up, they stay in their programs, and they have to stay sharp. The officials are the same way. They stay sharp. They work at it. And some don't work as hard as others, and the ones that work hard are the ones that are usually promoted, the ones that are usually working Super Bowls, the ones that work in playoff games. But it's a very competitive group of individuals that are working in the officiating of the National Football League.
Well, Jim, let me say this first off: is I want to commend you for the type of work that you've done for the number of years. I do believe that the referees need to be respected more than what they are. My brother, he's a referee. He referees basketball. He's been doing college for, I want to say, probably about 25 years. And watching him work, the time that he puts in, the investment he makes into his body, just staying in shape, I see it, and it gave me a different perspective, especially as a coach, because I went into coaching, coached for 12 years, and we would go back and forth over a few things. But I'm telling you, he would absolutely break everything down to me. And I'm just like, man, y'all do a tremendous job of trying to get everything right. And he's like, man, we had to work. We got to go through clinics. We got to go through. We constantly get guys to make sure they're trying to get everything right. And so I just want to say, man, first off, man, I think y'all getting a lot of bad flack, man. Y'all don't deserve it. But, y'all got to support over here, man.
Well, that's normal. That's been happening for years, and like I said, it's part of the profession. Anybody that's ever put on a striped shirt understands that. You try to block everything else out and do the best job you can, and it's really and that's what it's all about. Unfortunately, I notice all over the country, so fewer and fewer people are getting into officiating because of the abuse. Because of it's a great payoff if you get to the next level, every level that you go. But it's very difficult, and you see so many high school associations that are having trouble, filling the ranks with, and they'll teach people how to become officials. And as a matter of fact, there's an official that's going to be a referee in the Super Bowl next week. He was a former player. I think his name is Mike McCabe. It's interesting. I used to know every guy and every number at every position. Now there's so many new guys, but Mike's a young guy that started out officiating after his football career, playing in the NFL, and he's worked his way up to officiate the Super Bowl.
Awesome.
Too many that have done that.
Yeah, awesome. Listen, you were saying it is without a doubt a dangerous occupation, and it has become that, like you said. Just when I observe my kids, now my grandson, referees have a tough job to do. The responsibility, trying to keep everybody right. Everybody's on their neck, harping at them, cussing at them. And, that's why I see sometimes they try to run to their car as fast as possible. They out of here. So the game's over, they are gone, right? And it's just, need protection. I mean, it is a dangerous job. So for everybody that has any type of contention with referees and you feel like you could do a much better job, please do so. Put in your resume, okay? Come out here, do a dangerous job that these guys are out here doing, and you see how it feels. You see how it is, right?
Yeah,
everybody's good. Yeah, everybody's good from the couch.
I've been run off the field down in Letcher County in Whitesburg a couple of times, way back when I was first starting to officiate. But then you go out there in the field, and you're working up at Cincinnati or you're working a Super Bowl, and it's kind of good on the ego. It kind of we all have these egos that we like to have stroked, and it's really exciting to have the opportunity. So few get this opportunity to work at that level, but it's a goal that you set, and I set it back in '69 when I was sitting in a meeting with Tommy Bell, who was from Lexington. And he talked about it, and I just started officiating, and I set the goal to get into the NFL. And did I ever think I was going to make it? Absolutely not. But you get some breaks. You spend a lot of time on it. So I feel very blessed that I had the opportunity to be a part of the NFL. I had 25 years with them, and I couldn't have had a greater career.
Yeah. I'm a kind of have someone to speak about a little bit of this. Marcus, I sent you this video. Is there a way you could play the video I sent you?
Yeah, let me post it here.
And it's really it boils down to this, Jim, for me, is that each and every team has 60 minutes. Everybody's got 60 minutes to win a game, right? So let's just say one of the calls didn't go their way. Well, you had plenty of time to make it up to, still be a determining factor for the game. There's a lot more football that was played between those calls and to the very end. But I'm going to give you a guy perspective from like a coach that has something a little bit to say.
Okay.
I agree with.
Hold on.
Okay.
I have to convert it to a different video format.
I got you. Okay.
Took 2 seconds.
Okay.
But,
we can do that.
But I think it really boils down to how guys are competing on the field. And that's one thing I didn't want to get caught up into the weeds too much on the officiating as opposed to what guys are actually doing out there on the field, the type of effort that they're giving to win the game. And I think what that does is you start diminishing the success of the guys, the effort they put in, putting their body out there to get hurt, the time that they invest to win. I don't think I don't quite understand, especially as a player. I think it's very disrespectful to the guys, to the Chiefs, okay, and even to the Bills, if you will, everybody that's out there.
It's processing.
Okay.
Yeah. Took 2 seconds.
But I do believe it goes into really, these guys earned that.
Mhm.
So when you try to say guys didn't earn it, you start questioning that because you feel like it's being rigged for them. Then you take away everything else. You take away 59 minutes of the entire game to say, wait a minute, what about those calls? What about those plays? What did your team do or did not do to win this game? Right? Why put it all on the refs, on their shoulders, to make a determining factor? So, okay.
I got to read it.
All right.
To beat the Chiefs, even if you have the better team. It's not like Tom Brady and the Patriots where you had simply just a better team and outclass Belichick every year, you know? It's fucking pathetic. What do you suggest? What do you suggest, Coach? Save America!
Hey, listen, I thought this was the year for the Bills. Yep. But when you can't make the 1 yard you need to make, you don't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. You can have all these stats. That's all I saw in the pregame warm-up. 65 touchdowns, this stat, that stat. You don't make the 1 yard you need in any critical situation, you're going to get knocked out of the playoffs, and you can't rely on some official to give you a spot on the road in a playoff game. You just can't count on the officials. With Josh Allen, this has to be a slam dunk, automatic first down, and you didn't execute. You did not execute. You got the best offensive line in the league from left tackle to right tackle, a 300-pound tackle playing tight end. James Cook hasn't been stopped all night, and Josh Allen has 600 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. And you can't make this much. The execution, the pad level, the finish, the overall scheming, whatever it is, you lost the game because third and fourth down in that, and you got to live with.
That's a mic drop for me. That's an absolute mic drop.
He nails it. I worked with John on Monday Night Football in the booth, and John really has a great understanding of the game. He was very difficult on the sidelines, to say the least. But he was like Coach Ditka. They worked you pretty good, but they worked you when you needed to be worked. They weren't just out there giving you BS to try to get a call. If they thought you missed something, they'd let you know. And John, like he said, you've got a job to do, and they didn't do their job. And why would you blame? I don't know. It's frustrating to say the officials missed the spot when all he had to do was kick ass and move a little forward, right?
That's it. Look, I know how John is. I had him. He was my offensive coordinator for 2 years up in Philly. So he used to ride me on all the time. So I know exactly who he is and how he feels about certain things. And he's going to give it to you straight. He is. You might not like it. He's going to give it to you straight because he's going to demand the good things out of you. And so when he's sitting there and he's talking about this, I know he's sitting there saying a fact like, look, why can't Josh Allen, okay, all these stats you don't put up, Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that, can't be stopped. 4th and 2 up there in Buffalo. Guess what? He runs for a touchdown. Now he gets to Kansas City, and all of a sudden he can't get the ball across, 1 yard. So let's not put it on the officials. Never leave it on the officials. How about you put it on Josh Allen and the rest of the coaching staff, and those guys there, the guys up front. And it was the same, though, with Dick Vermeil used to say the same about kickers. Dick Vermeil said, look, do not leave it up to kickers. I do not want to see the kickers out there kicking field goals. I don't want to see it. Y'all put it in the end zone. And so for coaches, for guys out there playing, it's on us to make it right. It's on us to make sure we get the first down. It is on us to perform. That's what we get paid for. So, hey, and I think why people were disappointed a little bit with the Texans and they were putting on the officials and whatnot. Josh Allen didn't put on the officials. He's like, man, they played a great game. That's what they did. And so I respect him for saying such, because it was a great game. And it's what the saying is all about.
Yeah. That's what, hey, you know what? Get on the field, go one-on-one and see what happens. And the best team's going to win.
Amen.
And Kansas City was the best team last Sunday.
That's right. So we knew it was going to be a tough outing. The two best teams in the AFC was going at it. We knew that. We lost to them early on in the season, and this was payback. This is absolute payback. So we needed to make sure that we sent the message, and those guys played it perfectly. They did. And They just got the short end of the stick, man. The Chiefs was able to outlast them, get the first down to move on to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
So that's the most important thing. And that's why I don't want people to miss the greatness of actually what happened. We beat a great team, all the great teams in the last couple of weeks to get to this
You're
point.
right.
Yeah. I mean, do you think we were 15-2 because the officials helped us out the entire year? It's crazy. It's crazy. So
it's just people want to hate. That's all it is, Jason. People have a hard time with winners, and whether it's the Lakers or the Yankees or the Chiefs or the Patriots, any of them, people don't like those teams, and they don't like it because they win. But it sure is fun if that's your team.
Yeah, right. If it goes for you, they're your greatest friends. If it goes against you, all this friends, all these terrible. Yeah,
absolutely.
I actually have a question for my brother. My brother says, Mr. Daopoulos, expound on the politics for officials getting to the Super Bowl. So what is that the comprise of? Who makes that decision?
Basically, it's kind of hard because I'm not as involved as I used to be, because I was, officials used to get graded on every call of every game. You get, and then you would be ranked. You'd be ranked 1 to 17 in your position. Number 1 would go to the Super Bowl. Number 2 and 3 would do the championship game. And the championship games were always the toughest games to officiate. So much more difficult than refereeing the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is like a piece of cake because, the players get in there. They don't want to make mistakes. They play pretty much, to the end. But the championship game, they get after each other pretty good because they're fighting for that spot in the Super Bowl. But there's never has been a lot of politics that go on in this thing. Basically, it was a couple of guys making decisions on performances of all the individuals. It's just like who gets in and who doesn't get in. The worst thing you can do is have somebody, a coach or somebody, call the league and say, hey, we want Jason Dunn to be a referee in the NFL. I mean, that's like the kiss of death. But, is there politics in officiating? Sure there is. There's politics and all that stuff that goes on. But I would say, at the NFL level or any of the professional levels, you try to put the best product out there that you can. And that's what the officiating department is charged with. Next week when the Super Bowl occurs, you want the best product that you can put out there. You don't want the guys that are at the lower end of the spectrum working that game. So you've got the best guys working that game, and it's necessary because they're the ones that are going to make the decision, and they've been doing it all year.
Yeah. I agree. It has to boil down to the best ones out there. And I know they're going to get it right for that. And that's why the guys are out there trying to get the right call, because they want to work, which is going to be the biggest game, out there in viewership for everybody to watch. The entire world is watching this. I was watching a Korean, TV cover the games, and I just enjoyed it. Just in their language and whatnot. I was like, man, look at this. This is, it's worldwide. It's how big football is getting. So,
the officials, they want to work that. They would love to get through the game next week and not have a flag thrown and just let two teams play against each other. But they've got a job to do, and once the game starts, all that fanfare that goes on. I'll tell you, when I refereed the Super Bowl, it was there was so many distractions that you had to. Once the game started, you had to really focus on what was going on because there was so much going on, pregame and all that. But it's kind of a real ego booster to be out there, though. It really is doing the Super Bowl. It really is.
I can imagine. Biggest stage. It's the biggest stage out there.
Absolutely.
That's why we try so hard as football players to get there as well, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, everybody takes their helmet off. Look at me. You want everybody to see it.
Yeah, because there's only one winner at the end of the year, at the end of the season, and
that's right.
That's what everybody's playing for.
Well, they said that everybody has a common goal to get to the Super Bowl. You got 32 teams trying to do it, and you got 31 losers.
Yeah,
31. So,
there's some pretty good players out there that don't ever get there.
That's right. Man, and that magnitude. That's why I said it's just so special that these guys have been able to do it over and over every single year. We watched the Patriots do it, right? When Pittsburgh had their dynasty going, and Cowboys and San Fran and whatnot. And
yeah, I mean, they've all had their runs. And
yes.
You know what? Kansas City's got their run's going to run out one of these days, and somebody else is going to take over, and then they will have that conspiracy theory again with another team. The officials are helping this other, and like I said, the officials, you know what? As long as they do their job, and they don't want to be known as, they don't want anybody to know they're out there, and that's what they try to do is just keep a low key. But again, you just go out there and do your job, and hope that it doesn't focus in on you at some point.
Right.
When those crazy plays come out on the field, those tight interceptions and catches and all that, I used to say, God, I hope it's on the other side of the field because I don't want to have to be dealing with it.
Well, I know, I'm sure that y'all get death threats and stuff like that, man. Hopefully they don't expose where y'all live and stuff. I mean, this is how crazy this stuff can go. And I don't think people realize and think about those things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Y'all just human beings. Y'all have families and everything else too. And y'all just trying to do y'all job.
Oh, they do. They get exposed. We've had to get the FBI and local authorities involved. We've had referees that have had bricks thrown through their windows.
Man.
And it's sad. It really is that life is, people are so concerned about their team and thinking that one person is making a decision, making a difference on whether their team advances or not. And, there's so many variables that come up, but unfortunately, it's the guy that wears the white hat, and his name comes up on the screen, and those guys, a lot of those referees like that. They like that notoriety, but when it hits the fan, they don't like it. Then they'd rather back off.
Yeah. My brother said in a felony offense to accost a ref. So, I mean, accosting anybody, it should be in a felony, of course. But I mean, just for you all, for what y'all do.
I think a lot of states have made it, have it as a felony. And but I can tell you, in my, 25 or 30 years with the NFL, never. I never felt threatened on the field by players or crowds.
Yeah.
I don't know if any, I was on the field in Cleveland when one of the players pushed the referee over because he got hit by a flag, and that was a lot of years ago. Players know their limits. I mean, they'll get in your face, but they know when to stop. And the league does a pretty good job policing that. But like I said, you can't even put your hands on an official. I mean, you put your hands on an official, the rule is he has to be put out of the game, and they know that. I mean, that's one of the first things that they learn. But again, it's unfortunate that people go to such lengths because they feel the official screwed them, or a player. I felt so bad for this guy, Mark Andrews, a great tight end, and he dropped a pass, and it happens. And Baltimore gets beat. And he got so much hate mail. His girlfriend got hate. I mean, it's just sometimes they take this game too seriously.
Man, isn't that the truth? They were talking Orlando Brown. That's who it was, Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown. That's exactly right. Yep.
God rest his soul.
Jeff Triplett. Yep. I was the umpire on that game. And,
okay.
I was one of the officials on that game.
All right.
A lot of years ago.
A lot of years ago, but you weren't the one that threw the one that hit him in his eye, though.
No, there was Triplett threw it.
Triplett, yeah.
Triplett threw it and hit him, and it was a pretty costly mistake for the league. It cost the league a lot of money.
Yeah,
but but it was just one of those. It was a mistake that was made, and we all of a sudden everything changed about how we handled our flags. No more rocks, no more spark plugs, no more golf balls in your flag. So then they had to get us new flags with a little bit of sand in them.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, see, things change. Didn't even know that. I had no idea that they changed other flags and stuff. Oh, okay. It makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I just, like I said before, Jim, I just want to tell you how much that I respect you and everything that you do, have done over the years, and also too for the guys that's out there. I know it's a tough job to do, man. You keep encouraging them to keep doing their job, okay? Regardless of all the thing they hate and everything they hear out here, guys just need to keep doing their job. And to be honest with you, I'm one of those that think y'all should go on TV and start giving some of these people some of that back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing about the league. They don't let you make too many comments. They kind of keep all the officials very tight-lipped. They'll let a pool reporter go into the game, go into the locker room after the game on a controversial call. They're asked to, what is the question? They're told, well, here's the question, and then they tell the referee what the question's going to be. He answers it very quickly, and that's it. They just don't want the officials out there, spending a lot of time, because a lot of times, as I said earlier, they make mistakes. So what are you going to do about it? I mean, you can't change the outcome of the game, and hopefully the call, or if there was a miss, hopefully that it didn't affect the game, the final outcome of the game.
Yeah. Well, man, I tell you, Jim, I appreciate it, and everybody's had a lot to say over here on the chat. We're trying to get to some of the questions. There's a lot of questions for you, of course, on here. We got to have you back sometime. Hopefully, maybe sometime soon. If we can get you back next week sometime for a little bit, we'd love to have you. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have a lot of questions at our little get together up in Lexington next week.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. And you know what? Anytime, I'm always available. Love to talk to you guys, Marcus and Jason. It's really been my pleasure to be on this podcast with you guys.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate
you,
it,
Jim.
Yeah, you know how we feel about you, man. And yeah, definitely. So when I see you next weekend, we're gonna have a good time, and we could talk about a few things. And I might have to grab a couple of my friends by their throat, say, "Hey, man, come on up here and talk to Jim a little bit." Okay?
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I won't get run out of Lexington, right? No. Make sure it's not cold up there, okay?
Okay. Well, hey, listen, when you come up here, you're gonna have a whole lot of protection, a whole lot of NFL players around you.
Yeah.
Say, hey, look, you take care of Jim. All right, Jim's one of us.
For those guys. It's a great group we have in the Kentucky Pro Football Hall of Fame. Great group of individuals, and so looking forward to the get together next weekend.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So, Marcus, is there anything else you need to?
We covered everything, man. The chat was holding it down with other questions in there, and you were doing a great job with asking about all the conspiracy theories. But yeah, Jim, as always, you did an amazing job, man. We'd love to have you back, like JD said, and maybe whether it's next week or maybe the referees make a deciding call again, like calling a hold on Bradbury for holding Juju, and we win the Super Bowl because of that. We'll have you on after that.
We may have something to talk about next week, and that'd be great. Like I said, just kind of let me know. I'd love to kind of join you guys again.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, guys.
Would you enjoy some golf for get some golf out there for me, my friend. Okay?
Friday morning again. I got to take a day off. I'm getting too old to play every day, so take a couple of days off.
Right. I hear you. Okay. Well, wonderful seeing you. I'll see you next weekend for sure.
Next weekend in Lux.
Okay. All right. You take care. Appreciate it so much. Thanks for your time, Jim. You've been very gracious for it. Thank you.
Take it easy, Jim. Have a good one.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.